Hey sightseers, I'm standing in front of the old post office here in Glen Rio, Texas, or is it New Mexico? Glen Rio is now a ghost town, and what's very unique or unusual about it is that it's situated right smack on the border of New Mexico and Texas. One other interesting thing about Glen Rio was in its heyday, it had at the max for permanent residents a total of 30 people. So follow me as we go take a little tour. Another thing about Glen Rio that's interesting is that it used to be a very popular stopover along Route 66. This was probably back in like the late 50s, early 60s, going maybe until about the late 70s, at which point they built I-40. The building of Interstate 40 is basically what put Glen Rio in a state of being a ghost town, because with I-40 nobody was traveling along this section of Route 66 anymore, and as what happens to many ghost towns, it becomes just a memory in the past. This is all that's left of the post office. You can see up in the rafters that they had old knob and tube wire. Another thing to note about Glen Rio is that it came into existence as a result of the railroad. Back in the 1800s, one of the many railroad companies that are found here in the US decided to put in a train depot here. And it was at that point that Glen Rio was born. One thing, if my dad is watching, I just want to let you know, Dad, that I am wearing my snake boots today. When I look at the remnants of this vehicle, I can picture some pimply-faced kid back in the 70s dragging down Route 66 with this vehicle. after all this time, Mother Nature hasn't quite yet been able to get this thing to fully collapse. The construction is actually quite impressive. Then back here would be what I think back in the pioneer days they would have called a lean-to, where it's just a wooden structure built leaning up against the main structure. Yeah, I don't think I'll step there. One of the things about Glen Rio was that when the railroad established the train depot here, two of the big things that were being brought through here were cattle and then of course farming commodities. What we have here looks like an old cattle guillotine, which perhaps served its purpose with the transport of beef at some point in the history of Glen Rio. So over here in the background you can see the remains of an old service station here along the defunct Route 66 in Glen Rio. Based on the structure of this building with having the canopy, and then here, which would have been where the gas pump would have gotten the gasoline from underground, and the electrical, we can identify this as actually a former gas or service station. Based on the condition inside this building, I am not going to even attempt to walk inside. The floor doesn't even look like it would hold me. Here looking in is the back view of the service station, and you can see over in the corner is like a built-in desk or shelf, sink of some sort. It is quite possible somebody lived here in the back of the service station. So I'm standing in front of a small building here, which is actually was where you would once be able to check into this hotel slash motel to my left. So this might have actually been where the manager had his office, his or her office. If you look back there, you can see old booths. So there must have been some sort of eating establishment here along with the motel. Good thing nobody left any presents in there. And it looks like there is some mail from the United States Post Office still laying here. It's quite possible at one time the post office got moved to this location. This would be where the motel is, next to the restaurant that we were just in. Not much is left. As you can see, Mother Nature is taking back what was once her own. Hello. Hello, anybody in here? It doesn't really look like it. Somebody left their shoes behind. I don't think you're getting this one on a foot. Here's another abandoned hotel and cafe here in Glen Rio. I imagine with it being such a popular Route 66 stopover that it was necessary to have two establishments such as these right next door to one another. Should we have lunch at the cafe? Over here would be the hotel slash motel. But as you can see, we're going to respect the signs that are posted. So this concludes this portion of the tour. This is the last of the remaining buildings in the ghost town of Glen Rio. What you see is an old cafe and an old service station. The current owner, in keeping with the spirit of Route 66, has a couple of old vehicles parked out in front, and it looks like the buildings are being kept in arrested decay. So that concludes our little tour of the ghost town of Glen Rio. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, I ask that you do so now. It only takes a couple clicks of the old button. And if you could give me a thumbs up on this video, I greatly appreciate it. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tour and have a great day.